All right, so today's lesson we are going to look at the linear regression line. So what the linear regression line is, it's sort of like the line of best fit. So at this point, we have been getting a scatter plot. So we put our response variable on the y-axis and our explanatory variable on the x-axis. So for an example, we've been often using the height and the weight, because our weight can depend on our height, on how tall we are. So then we've had a scatter plot, with the few dots. And then the next thing we looked at was the R value, and we might have said, for example, that if it had a 0.8, that meant it was a strong positive. Now, a strong positive relationship. Now, do you think this one is linear or non-linear? Do you reckon it's a straight line-ish pattern?
Linear.
Yeah, it's a linear. So see, now we have this line here. So that's what we're doing today. We are learning how to get the equation of that line. So what the calculator does is it tries to balance out all those dots and put the line that balances in between them, the straight line. So we are going to find, so the linear regression line is actually the line in there that we find, and our calculator finds it. Now, so it has a basic formula. If you have a look at this, y equals a plus bx. So we've been used to seeing in our other years, haven't we? We've been used to seeing y equals mx plus c. Do you remember that bit? Yeah? And remember that this bit was what was the c? Do you remember what part of the line that was? Yeah, good. The y-intercept. So it's that number there was the y-intercept. And what was the m? Do you remember what the m was? Good. It was the gradient. So sometimes the gradient is called the slope. So probably now we'll call it a lot more slope rather than gradient. So if you have a look, this y equals a plus bx is exactly the same. It is the same equation, except we're using different letters. So this a value is actually your c, and this b value is like your gradient or your m, okay? We just use different letters when we're doing this stuff. So from now on, till you finish year 12, you're going to use this a plus bx, because you guys will not do the other stuff anymore. So we'll just keep with this now. So it's going to be fine. All right, so now we know b is like the slope, or you might want to highlight that it's the gradient, because you might be used to seeing that. So what do we do? The least squares line, the calculator will work it out for us. It'll tell us the a and b values, and we're going to have a look at that. Now, if see down here, it's saying if you don't correctly decide which one is the EV and which one is the RV before you do this, you'll get a different equation, won't you? If you don't put them in the right one and select the right way, and it was the same with the R value. So that's why it was crucial that we learned, or we thought about, which one was going on our x-axis and which one's going on our y, so that all our data is correct when we put in the calculator. All right, so just go over this page. We're not going to do this one. I'll do the one on the board in a minute. But just to show you this little example here. So they want you to get the linear regression line of this data. So we have the following data shows the capita per income and the carbon dioxide emissions of 11 countries. So what they think is they want you to, and they will see when this one's a bit hard, you might not have any idea what the EV or the RV is, and that's a fair call, that's fine. When you see one of those, you'll probably get told. So did you see here, they say construct a scatter plot, and income is the explanatory variable. So you would know when you're drawing up your scatter plot that you're going to have income along here and you'd have carbon dioxide emissions along there. Okay, so you would get your scatter plot, and it'll end up being something like that. So anyway, how do we get that line of best fit, or the linear regression line? What we're going to do is first we would put our lists in listen spreadsheets. Yeah, so we put our lists in, and there's a couple of ways you can do it. So I'll show you in a minute. These instructions is showing you how to get the line of the equation using the scatter plot. So if you have a look here, they've drawn a scatter plot. So they've created a scatter plot on a data page. And then they have, see down here, you might be able to see it, they've found the equation. And why they're on that scatter plot, they've done these menu analyze, regression and all that. So we're going to pause it here, and we're all going to do the one that I put on the board on our calculators. All right, so we know how to find there's two places we can find the A and B value. So remember, you can get the A and B values where you get the R and R squared. So we just looked at that. Now, if I go to write out this example, if I went to go write out the formula for this one, I would say carbon dioxide emissions equals, and the A, I'm just going to round there, I think it's 1.4 plus 0.4 times income. So I'd have to make sure I do that. So this one is my A, and this number is my B. Okay,